Welcoming back to now is Dan Schneider, Vice President of MRC Free Speech America. So excited to have you here, Dan.
Stacy, it's always great to be with you.
So let's get into, I guess we have this new scandal that we can look at, and it's usually revolving around something having to do with censorship nowadays. It's a normal routine for us to have to talk about this. And I think that's kind of sad. That's a sad reality for us. It's documents revealing that Amazon has actually been in contact with the Biden administration, Biden placing pressure on them to change the way they sell books.
Yeah, and it's not mere pressure. It's not like we think you ought to do this. In the communications from Andy Slavitt, straight out of the Biden White House, he was demanding that Amazon take action, take books off the internet for sale to the American public, books that ran contrary to the Biden administration's plans. And Stacey, it's really important to remember, Amazon Web Services and other Amazon subsidiaries have huge contracts with the federal government, with DoD and others. So when Andy Slavitt is calling people at Amazon saying, you do not understand how high of a priority this is to the president, what he's really saying is, it'd be a shame if something happened to your DoD contracts. It'd be really terrible for you. It was blackmail. It was a threat. And so obviously that is both criminal and unconstitutional for government to be actively censoring American speech and preventing the American public from learning important facts.
So I guess I have a couple of things here. First of all, Amazon is a rich company. So it would seem to me that their owner would have the same attitude that Elon Musk has, that
Hmm.
they would say, you know what? Yeah, we got some pretty lucrative contracts with you, but we're the biggest beast in the game and we're not going to subvert the constitution for you. Take your contracts elsewhere and see how these other smaller businesses that don't have our robust history and our backbone. Let's see how they handle your work. You'll be back in 12 months. You'll be back looking at a contract with us again because AWS is the only game in town. It's the biggest. It's the strongest. It's the most robust. I don't understand it. It's not just Amazon. It's a lot of these huge companies like Larry Fink adopting the ESG paradigm. He's the biggest guy in the game. Why would he go with a new cultural ideological viewpoint that really is antithetical to his pro-capitalist, pro-big everything life that he has led up until the point that he made that change? How do we account for the fact that people who have more than enough money, more money than anyone else in the world, will actually yield that to the whims of someone else for a little, like a sliver of their business?
Yeah, well, when it comes to Jeff Bezos in particular, we've seen his behavior where he's used his own personal fortune to bail out the Washington Post, bought this failing newspaper. Um, it has cost him an enormous amount of money. He'll never get a return on his investment, but he bought it specifically so that it could be a mouthpiece for the left to promote a liberal agenda in the media. But why do these big tech oligarchs spend their money in ways that where they're not going to get a return on their investment? I've been thinking about this, Stacey. I've concluded that they've been so successful in changing consumer behavior that they're now motivated to use their same techniques to change societal behavior. They like how they're proud of themselves, how they've been able to engineer and manipulate people's business decisions and market decisions. Now they're wanting to get into the business of societal change, and it's always with a social justice bent. So it's unfortunate, but that's where we are today with these big tech oligarchs trying to change us into being a socialist nation.
Yeah, so the socialism is, I guess, a drug that they can't resist, and when it's presented to them, especially, you're talking about the blackmail aspect of it, but there's also the idea that when leftists present their ideas and you immediately recognize that the idea stinks, what ends up happening is they then appeal to your emotional center and they say, well, because the people who are saying these horrible things about the shot are actually Trump supporters. And so do you want to be on the hook for supporting Trump supporters? So I believe you that there was blackmail involved, but there's also this, it's a really negative thing that they do where they actually tell people that they're trying to convince that the only thing that they have going for them, the only thing that can be a redeemer for them is if they fight the evil bad man Trump and all of his supporters who are working to subvert their quote unquote democracy. And so you take the
Yeah.
blackmail aspect of it and then that emotional hook, and I guess it's very effective because they keep bowing down to it, Dan.
Yeah, that emotional hook, I think that's rooted in sort of the left's desire for the elites and the bureaucrats to make the decisions for us who they don't think are smart enough to make decisions for ourselves. So the idea that somebody would exercise their own judgment and say, I'm a healthy young guy, I'm in good shape and I have a good diet and maybe I don't want a vaccine that has not been tested. I don't know what the long-term implication is. I'd rather suffer the consequences if I get sick and make these choices on my own. The left does not like that kind of behavior. They want us to fall in line and do what we're told.
Yeah, and so I think the interesting thing about that is we're all admitting that there's risk involved, but that's with every single drug that we take. So there isn't a time that I have been to the doctor and they prescribed me something where they don't say, also be careful, this drug can make you
Mhm.
drowsy. See how you feel on it for a few days before you drive immediately after taking it. Or this drug is known to cause bowel issues or stomach issues, and you might want to see how you fare. Take a half a pill first for the first couple of days and then step it up. I've heard all kinds of things about treatments. I mean, everything from chemotherapy all the way down to the tiniest little vitamin that you might take. They all have these warnings on them, and they come with these extensive interior labels that tell you, the benefit is you're going to lose. Let's take the weight loss craze that's going on right now, the Ozempic and the semaglutide. The side effect is that some people have, stomach issues, and other people, develop thyroid cancer. I mean, that's a pretty serious side effect. And they ameliorate that by monitoring your thyroid, doing blood work. You keep a close eye on yourself. But the alternative is, well, I could catch cancer or some other thing that's really horrible if I don't lose weight. And these are the things that you see. Even the YouTubers who are by no means doctors have these discussions. So I just find it interesting that the COVID vaccine is the only one where we can't actually make the decision for ourselves. Dan, we always run out of time, but what we can do is go to mrctv.org. That's where I go every day. I watch my video clips there. I read my stories. I get informed. I get all jazzed up and ready to do work. Everyone should go there. Dan, it's always great to have you.
Daisy, good being with you.
All right, we'll talk soon. And there's more now coming at you right after this.